Joe doesn't care about my teamfight tactic plights.
Because I think teamfight tactics is stupid.
It's fun.
So is heroin, but that's bad.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It has been a while. My name is Joe Brown. I am joined by my best friend, Joe Perry, and we would like to welcome you to this steaming hot edition of Cup of Joe's, episode 52. Now, Joe, should I be cliche and say I haven't seen you since last year? Because that was the last time we recorded a podcast, I think, or maybe January or something. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, it has been a while, but it would be extremely cliche for you to say that.
All right, so we'll pretend that I didn't say that. All right, everyone strike that from your memories, and I'll start off on a better foot with a better joke. But so for this episode of Cup of Joe's, we have a couple of games that we have been playing. You know, while the world has been turning, we've been staying at home, Joe and I, and playing a couple of different games. So we're going to talk about our experiences with them, and that is Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Doom Eternal.
Animal Crossing! Animal Crossing!
So Doom Eternal also, and then the Final Fantasy VII Remake on PS4, which is one I'm very excited to talk about. But Joe, I have I have multiple questions for you. The first question is, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I still go to work every day and I'm considered essential. So,
well, I would consider our friendship essential to my well-being.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way because I feel the same.
Oh, okay. I was like, where is this gonna turn? I was like, what?
It's always a wheel that's a turning. Always wheels are turning. I continue to work from home even when I'm not at the office.
That's good.
Right now.
Now, do you think there's any chance in the future, like, is your company gonna be like, this actually works kind of well? Like, we could let our employees, work 1 or 2 days from home every week and then come to the office the other days. I've heard a lot of people talk like that of like this whole situation could change like our whole, a bunch of different job industries.
It could, but I need to go to the lab every day to do work. I need to.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I had another question for you.
What's up?
What are your turnips selling for?
I was about to check. I'll tell you in a few minutes, but I need to check something on here.
Okay, cool. Because that's our transition into Animal Crossing New Horizons. Because Joe and I, we've been playing it a lot. I've actually had a lot of friends that I'm playing with. Like, I'm in a group chat with some of my college buddies, and they're all playing it every day. Like, it feels good to play a single player, like, communal multiplayer game, if that makes sense, Joe. You know what I mean? Like, we're all doing our own thing, but it's not like we're not competing against each other. Like, we're helping your friends out. Like, oh, I need this piece of wood or this peach chair or Apple TV or whatever. It's like, oh, I have an extra one. Like, so it feels good to just have the world colliding together in this time and helping each other out.
Yeah, it does. It feels good. Me and my friends have been playing Animal Crossing during this entire time, and it's a little bit of a relaxing type of game to play while all this is happening, which is nice. But still a little dicey out there right now. You know what I mean?
Why are you buying fake art from your cousin Red? Is that why it's dicey?
Yeah, he's coming around. He hasn't been to my island for a few days. I did buy one. I bought 3 real things from him so far.
He got me. I don't know how. I literally even Googled the real photos or whatever to find just so red wouldn't get me, and I bought it. And then Blathers has a conniption when I try to give it to him, and I was like I'm supposed to know Blathers? Like Google told me this was the real one. So,
Which one was it?
it was this lady with like a white like head scarf thing, and like she had like a pearl earring, and apparently like the earring is like the regular one's like a circle, regular circular ear, but like the fake one is like a star shaped earring or something. But like I don't know, it was so small to me, like I couldn't tell the difference, so I just bought it, and it was the fake one.
I'm trying to. You need to tell me what this painting is now, because I have a guide that I have up that shows them.
All right, so it's a white lady looking, Mother Teresa, or not Mother Teresa. What's her name? Oh my god. Ah, and she has like a white scarf with like blue on it on the headscarf too, and like she's in a dress.
Oh yes,
I
the
was saying,
earring.
I meant to say Mona Lisa, not Mother Teresa. I said Mona Lisa, like sitting there in front of a painting.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. I have it pulled up right here.
Yeah. So, am I a total idiot, or like was that a hard one to miss?
Um, there's another fake one. There's two different fake ones of this one. It looks like.
Oh wow, really? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
there's one with her eyes closed, but I guess unless you know what you're looking at, you won't know to look for it. But now I can also see it. Let me see if I can make this picture bigger. Oh yeah, Joe Brown, you should have been able to tell that wasn't real.
she didn't have her. I also didn't zoom in. I just looked at it on like in his boat. You know what I mean? Like I didn't specify like zoom in on just the photo. So
Yeah.
so that's why I'm saying like the pixels were really small for me. Like you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I got what you're saying.
So it's still my fault, but like he's my cousin. Whatever, I'll let it slide. Red's family. He's
he's my
basically
cousin.
family.
It's family here. We're family here.
So I've been a huge Animal Crossing fan ever since the North American release back on the GameCube. I played with my family, countless. I can't even count the amount of hours. Like my most played one with my family would be City Folk on the Wii, where like my sister and I and my brother, like we literally play after school every day. We play like we played on like Christmas Eve to see Santa. We played on Christmas Day, like to have all this stuff. Like it was a huge part of my life is the Animal Crossing series, and I kind of got away with it, or away from it, I would say, on the 3DS with New Leaf, where I only played for a little bit. So I was really excited for this to come back. It was perfect timing, obviously, since we were all trapped at home trying to escape the world, and this really kind of is like a therapy for a lot of gamers right now playing Animal Crossing. So like I've been loving most of it. I won't say every second of it, because we can get into some gripes that I have with it, but I didn't know what your background is with Animal Crossing, Joe. Like are you a veteran of it? Have you played any other games, or is like this your first one?
I definitely played the GameCube one back in the day. Mm-hmm. So this isn't my first one. I have played it before.
So like, what are your expectations? Like, what are your thoughts about the game?
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, you're right. It does have its like ups and downs. I think you have more problems with it than I do at the moment. But I'm having a pretty good time playing the game. It's definitely fun for me. It's definitely something for me to do every now, like to check in every day to see what's going on.
Yeah, I think that helps too. Like, I think I've gotten so used to like daily login style games from maybe like mobile games or whatever, that it's kind of feels the same with Animal Crossing. Like even if I only play for 10 minutes, I still have to make sure that I log in every day to collect or keep my Nook Miles streak going alive of 7 days or whatever, and see what my turnip prices are and stuff. I think like it adds some type of consistency in this time where like I woke up today like I didn't even know what day it was, you know, so like it adds at least some type of consistency to our life. But like I think the island aesthetic, it was probably it was like the next step up, right? You go from person in a town to the, you know, running a town to running an island. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like a natural progression, I guess, of the of your power, your ability in the Animal Crossing world. And it was probably the smartest thing they did, because like, could you imagine if we didn't have the terraforming and we weren't able to change, you know, add rivers and add cliffs and different, like how much less playtime would all of us have in this game if they didn't have this island aspect or this island getaway where it's literally your whole thing and you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be something interesting to see. Like it's kind of like you think about what the town was like when you originally played it. Like for me, when I originally played it on the GameCube, couldn't really change much besides getting your house in order. The one thing I miss though is the little like fire hydrant things.
Oh, the Lloyds?
Yeah, I miss the Lloyds.
Yeah, I miss them badly. They were my favorite.
I got
collecting those.
Yeah, but they would like sing too, so you could like make like a song happen with them.
Oh right, yeah.
But I enjoyed those, and I was kind of upset to not see them here. But then you see them when you're building like a bridge or an incline, which I thought was kind of funny. Right. But my bells are at 51, by the way.
51. That is not helpful. I have my literally I might as well make my homepage on my Google Chrome the AC Turnip website, because that's just what I always have up to see. It looks like tomorrow morning is when I should sell. It'll be at maximum 206, so I'll keep you updated on that.
For who, you? I already sold my turnips on a different island, on someone else's island.
Oh, okay. Dude, can we talk about, what was that, 2 weeks ago now at this point, when I had 412 bells per turnip? That was literally the craziest. Okay, I'll give you the entire rundown of how that day went, Joe. Okay, are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Okay, I was getting so fed up with Animal Crossing at that point because, and we can talk about some of the negatives as I talk about this like big positive moment of it. I was really annoyed with how some of the content was being gated away, like based on time, like having to wait day after day for things to build. Excuse me. Or like how your freaking fishing rods and nets and everything keep breaking and you just have to keep rebuilding them for no reason. Like then that wasn't a thing before, and it's really aggravating. So like there was a lot of like negative things like that where especially since I also didn't have access to terraforming yet, it's like there was a lot of things being held away from you, and I was seeing all these amazing freaking islands on the internet, and all my friends, like they had already had KK Slider perform, and they have the terraforming, and they're doing these fun things, and like I felt so inferior as an Animal Crossing player in a game that's supposed to be single player, but I felt like I wasn't doing it right, that I was ready to quit. I was ready to just put the game away, and I was like, I can't possibly keep up with all my friends. Like, all my friends, they had all levels of their houses paid off. They had the terraforming. They had, the 3-star islands. One of my friends had a 5-star island. Like, I just felt like dirt. Okay, Joe?
How did they do that? Were they time traveling?
No, and they weren't. Shout out to my friend Mark. He's just a phenomenal Animal Crossing player. Like, even in New Leaf, when I played New Leaf, he's one of my college friends. He's just an amazing Animal Crossing player. So like, you know, he knows all the breeding mechanics with the flowers and like how to make things look nice and line up your houses and everything. He's just a great player. So that's how he got the 5-star rating. But I was like, that's it. I'm ready to give up because I can't compete with all my friends and I can't compete with the internet. And that day, that
But
that
then you said that.
afternoon, I walked into my Nook's Cranny shop, said hi to Timmy and most importantly Tommy, and asked them what my bell prices were or my turnip prices were for the afternoon, and they said 412 turnips. And that same day, I was setting up because I had gotten a 3-star island a couple days earlier for KK Slider to come to my town and perform. And that same day, KK Slider performed. And if anyone who doesn't know me, KK Slider is my favorite Animal Crossing character. He's my avatar on my Switch is KK Slider. And you know, I love like KK Slider-ified songs and like from animes and different things there. They put him on it. It's the best. I love KK Slider. So my entire perspective on like my opinion on the game complete 180 because I finally had KK visit, which means I finally unlocked terraforming, and I had a crazy 412 turnip price where I opened it to all my friends. Like you came by, and I had like a lot of maybe 12 to 15 friends that I messaged. I was like, you know, sell your turnips on my island. This is great. And then I even did the crazier thing where I opened it up to the internet, Joe.
Yeah, you should have probably tried to have put a limit on that.
Well, I didn't. Okay, in my offense, I have, you know, I'm in the Pokemon community, in the competitive Pokemon community, so I thought my VGC friends that would see the tweet would see the tweet and then come visit my island. I'm like, all right, I'm going to help my friends out. But it was just a bunch of, like, randos on the internet, which I don't blame them. They're just random because I don't know them. But, like, it was just a weird experience, like, random people like DMing me, like, can I come to your town right now? The worst is, like, you know how when someone, like, doesn't read an email on a work chain or whatever, it's like, what's the dodo code? And I'm like, it's, like, right there in the freaking photo. Why do you have to ask me that? But, like, I think I left it open for
You had it open
maybe 2 or 3 hours or something.
You had it open for a while.
Dude, I made so much money, not even off of my own turnips, which obviously I sold for a huge amount. But, like, people were dropping, like, 99K bell bags as they left, as, like, as a token or a thanks or whatever. Like, it just felt really cool. And that one day where I went to bed the night before feeling like I was going to quit Animal Crossing, the next day completely changed my life.
For real. You should also look at this. I'm sending
What am I looking at?
I'm sending him a link, everybody. I sent him a link to turnip.exchange on the internet, which essentially is a website that allows you to either host your island or look at other islands that are selling turnips or that are allowing you to come to sell their turnips, and they like put you in a queue. You decide how many people you will let you to let them come on. So one dude has his turnip set at 630 bells. They're being sold at apparently.
Wow.
And he has an entry fee of 2 unidentified fossils, and you must perform a random act of kindness to someone that you know within the next 90 days. This guy, pretty nice. Like this is one of the nicer ones that I've seen, where some of the other ones like they have like a much lower price of like 350. They're like, I need purple mums and and 3 pieces of gold, and it's like, okay, buddy, hold on a minute. But yeah, this is like a website that you can go to, and you can like they'll put you in a queue, and you have to wait to get on the island. So not everybody's like rushing to get onto this island at once, and all this other stuff. So this is also pretty cool. If you
That's
take a look
really
at
helpful because that was the bane. You were there, Joe. That was the worst part. Was that everyone was just running in, and it kept stopping every 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was very annoying, and like you also like would continue to talk so that whoever was trying to come on would have to wait for you to finish, and like some people would just never stop the talking, so you couldn't get on.
Right.
But yeah.
Why don't we take a trip to Dingus Island, Joe?
I don't want to go to Dingus Island.
Let me hit up my boy Orville. See if he's got any flight packages to Dingus Island. That's pretty funny.
Dingus Island.
I guess. I mean, I hadn't thought of using that site because I like using like the turnip calculator site. I think it's like fun to see what my projections are every day or whatever. But I might have to consider it. Um, so some of the things that bug me, and then we'll quickly move on to our other topics here, are for all the fun things that they've added, there are still like so many archaic nonsense decisions that I can't understand how Nintendo made a game releasing in 2020 with these mechanics. For example, the online, the issues that we were talking about, like in my opinion, it is unacceptable how bad the online is in trying to get on and leave an island in Animal Crossing. So I don't want to talk for anyone else, but like it if that's what they thought was how people communicate and interact in 2020 was that the whole world stops when one person has to leave or enter, like there's no better system than that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, oh my god, it's because, and like there's so much wasted dialogue too. Like I find there's so much wasted time. Like I don't know, I saw a tweet where someone tried to like change the UI of talking with Orville for the planes, where like instead of under like 8 different like text windows where you had to keep clicking through so much dialogue, it was all of the options at once. So it was so like if you clicked I want to fly, then it was all of them of to Harv's Island, Nook Miles, to a friend's thing with a Dodo. Like it was all of them. But then it was also I want to open my gates. I want to open my gates with Dodo Code. Like it was much more streamlined. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it's like that. Like there's so much wasted time when I'm trying to open my gate or fly to a friend's island or go on on one of the randomly generated islands that I'm like. It's aggravating. It makes me not want to do it and sit there through a million lines of dialogue. The other ones, for Nook's Cranny, game came out in 2020. You still don't tell me how much a thing sells for until I have to click it individually for you to tell me how much it sells for. But I can go outside to the box outside of Nook's Cranny on the left and click it, and it'll tell me what that value of that item is, or 80% of what that item is, you know, when you're selling like after 10 p.m. whenever Nook's Crannies is closed. So like clearly you have the mechanics in the programming in the game to say this item is worth this amount of money. So how is that not implemented into the actual store?
I don't. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Like, it is very annoying to have to like deal with all that conversation, but it adds a little character to it. Like, Timmy and Tommy always do this, so it's just like a little something that they do, you know?
Right, but like, can you think of any other game like when you're buying and selling things, like the price it's always constant. It is ever present whenever you click something in a video game, in a modern video game, and like these are things that. When I say archaic, it's like, well, this is how it was in 2002, so I guess this is just how we do it. Like, we don't improve the system.
Yeah, I guess. But would you rather just be like immediate? Like, I guess they could just do it immediate, but
Right. So so if I have 5 different fishes that, let's say for the first time I was selling them at Nook's Crannies after I donated it, because obviously you're a monster if you don't donate a fish first to Blathers.
People be crazy when
So
they don't do that.
Let's say my second blue marlin, like the first one I donated and the second one I caught, if I wanted to sell it with a whole bunch of fish, I would not know the value of that fish. But what it should be is if I just click and highlight blue marlin, it should say whatever it is, 12,000 bells or 15. I forget what it actually is worth.
Okay.
Instead of having to click or talk to them, click it, hit start, see their answer, then back out, then talk to them again, highlight the blue marlin as well as the other fish. So now that I have the information, it should just tell me 1,200 bells, 12,000 bells, or 15,000 bells, whatever it is. Like that's like a basic or part of a game that I think a modern video game audience should and like can expect in for prices.
Yeah.
Now,
That makes sense.
have you run into this issue, Joe, where like you feel like one of your villagers' houses is just like one or two hexes off of where you want it to be?
No, because I only started moving people's houses when I had the ability to like terraform and do that stuff. So what I've been doing is I've just been laying out I was just like laying out an outline of where I want the house and then just fitting it into that outline, and it seems to be working pretty well for me. It is yet to like do me dirty.
You're gonna have to help me on that because I had an issue. I have my original villager from my first villager. His name's Samson. He's a little mouse, but he like works out all day and he calls me Pipsqueak. He's my boy. I love Samson. And then this other mouse named Dora moved in, and she's this little girl mouse, and she's very nice. So obviously, I'm trying to be a good wingman. So I put Dora's house right next to Samson's house. And then when I put the plot down, like the tent down or whatever, it looked lined up. By the time the house came in, it's like 1.5 hexes off of what Samson's house was. So in order to fix that, it's going to cost me 100,000 bells and 3 days, because you have to on one day I had to move Dora's house somewhere else on the island, which costs 50,000 bells. Then the next day it moves to the other spot, and then on that day too I have to spend another 50,000 bells to move it the original 1.5 hexes that I needed to for it to line up, and then on the third day it'll finally be there.
Yeah,
that's not.
That's why I've been doing it like with the outline, because to me that works the best.
Yeah, you have to show me that then.
Yeah.
And then the other last gripe I have with the game, which I don't want to sound so negative because I really am enjoying it. I think I probably put at least like I don't know, at least 70 hours or something. I can like look, or if you still have your Switch on, you can like look at my profile and see how many hours I have in the game, because I am enjoying it a lot. The weapons breaking and the durability it's asinine. I'm sorry. It is, in my opinion, unjustifiably bad mechanic in the game that is not necessary. Like, I didn't need my fishing pole to break right when I'm trying to fish for a blue marlin or something. I don't need my net to break because I caught a little butterfly. Like, it is my slingshot breaking from just using a slingshot. Like, it's a terrible mechanic.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough mechanic, I will say that.
I don't know a single person who's like, yes, I enjoy that this is happening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I definitely, like, it is kind of annoying for that to happen. But at the same time, I kind of enjoy having it because it makes me feel like there's other, like, I need to keep up with stuff. Like, instead of like collecting all these branches and like putting them wherever, like I need to collect branches because I need to collect them so I can make more fishing rods, or I need to collect them so I can make more like what is it, bug nets. Like,
sure,
you know what I'm saying? Like, they have so many things happening in this game. Like, they have so many supplies for you to gather and pick up. Like, you would just like run out of like space to hold all this stuff, and your island would just look crazy. Like, you would just keep selling them. I don't know. I think it's a useful thing. Like, it seems annoying at first, but it's kind of gives you, I guess, a little bit more satisfaction in like picking something up, knowing you're going to have to use it later.
Right.
It's kind of like
resources.
Yeah. Plus, I think that's like how Nintendo's kind of going with certain things. Like, look at, what was it, Breath of the Wild. Every item broke that you had. Every item that you used pretty much broke.
Yeah, even the Master Sword would have to cool off for 10 minutes if you used it too much.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's like a new thing to do to allow them to put in like items for you to collect, and so it's not just like kind of a waste of like, resources, but it also makes it a little bit more. I know, like, this is a video game and I'm living with animals, but it makes it a little more realistic. A fishing pole is going to break eventually. But the thing I have a problem.
That's my issue with it, is how frequently it breaks. Like, the other question is, why do gold weapons break? Like,
That's what I was
isn't
gonna get
the
at. The
intention of a
gold,
gold weapon that it doesn't break?
yeah, that is a pretty big one, especially for how hard you have to work to get those weapons.
Exactly. The most egregious is
Um,
the gold watering can breaking, because like you're like, okay, an axe hitting a tree, I get that it gets dull, or a fishing net like whipping back, like I get that it can snap or something. Like a watering can, like you're not even doing anything; it's just water falling out like from gravity. Like how does a gold watering can break?
exactly, yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I love the terraforming though. Like, did I show you? I showed you my Yamcha shrine.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so for anyone listening, you can use QR codes online, which I think that's probably like the coolest thing about this game is like you can Google. There's like a bunch of different websites, and Pinterest is huge. Like I've been going all over Pinterest looking for different QR code designs for things, and somebody made a QR code for Yamcha like dying in the sand
Oh
in
my
Dragon Ball Z,
goodness.
like face down, like it's like a famous scene. And so I terraformed like a little section on the top of my island for him, and I put the dirt down, and I put him in the QR code, and I put orange flowers around him like it was a grave. Oh my god, it's like that's where I think the fun is in the game with terraforming, because like no two islands are the same. Like when I visited your island, your game plan or your how you wanted to map everything out was completely different from mine.
Yeah, and I also don't care about doing the flower breeding like some people do. And I'm just not even paying attention to that. I just have flowers like sporadically put there on my island, and I'm more focused on making like a fruit orchard and having my villagers live in the same area and collecting all of the fish and the fossils. Like I'm more geared on that, where other people are more geared on making the rarest flowers and like getting specific islanders to show up and all this
Yeah.
other stuff, like where I'm just like, I'm going to collect all the fossils, I'm going to collect all the fish, and collect all the bugs. And that's what I'm going to do. That's my goal.
Yeah, I respect that. I think I'm definitely more in that camp as well. The only flower I really care about is like roses, just because they look the coolest in my opinion compared to the other ones. So like I have a bunch of pink roses and orange roses. I got a purple rose yesterday actually, Joe, and a black rose. My friend Mark, he came over. So did you learn this, that if your friends come to your island and water your flowers, they have a higher chance of crossbreeding, like the better flowers or whatever.
I didn't. I should tell my friends that so I can go help them.
Yeah, it's, I think at if 5 friends water a flower, that's the maximum chance. But even just one friend increases the odds. So like when Mark he came over to my island, he was helping me like map out some things of like what I wanted to do with it and move things and stuff. And he just brought his can, and he saw that I had 2 black roses next to my house. He was like, "Oh, let me just do this real quick." And he used his gold watering can. Next morning, buds for a gold rose, and today
Oh,
those roses
that,
spawned.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's definitely like work with your friends, and I guess that's friends are OP. That's everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Something else that is overpowered is Doom Guy and his ability to kill a bunch of people in hell. So Joe, let's transition that into our Doom
Doom
Eternal
Eternal.
discussion. So you take the floor.
Well, I will have to say that playing Doom Eternal was very fun to do. Like, because Doom came out, they released Doom a day before um, its original release day because of this pandemic that was going on, as well as the day before Animal Crossing. So I kind of picked up both games within 24 hours of each other, knowing I was going to play both games. And the funny thing is, I played Animal Crossing first and didn't even bother starting Doom for a little bit. It took me maybe like a week to start playing Doom because I was so sucked into Animal Crossing. But the new Doom game is very fun. It kind of picks up where after the 2016 reboot. So you're Doom guy, you're continuing to go about and trying to get rid of all the demons that have come from hell, and now instead of it being on Mars, it's come to Earth, and you need to
Ooh.
take care of everything that's happening to stop the extinction of the planet. and you learn that you're part of this society that made you into this like greater being, and you kind of learn, you get a little bit more background about Doom Guy and about his ability, where his like abilities came from, and his, as they call it, his rage came from. So it's a very fun game. It's very just like fast paced as they should be. You get a lot of weapons to use. You get a few new mechanics that you can use from the last one. I haven't tried the multiplayer yet. I don't know if I'm going to, because I just like playing the story mode to that game. But there's very interesting collectibles that you can get on the ship that you're on when you're not playing the main levels. But it was very fun. Like there were a few. There's not a few. I don't really know if I saw anything too wrong with it. I'm not a big like. I didn't see a lot of problems with it. I didn't really have any problems playing it. Like I did get a little turned around trying to find all the collectibles in it, and I still need to go back and find some of them. But it was just like a fun game to kind of like let off some steam and just like kill a few demons.
Now, when you compare it to the 2016 Doom, like, is it like the same game but like on Earth instead of Mars, or like what's the differences? Like gameplay wise, or visual wise, or anything?
I haven't played Doom 2016 since 2016, so I can't give you like the full side-by-side comparison. I will say some of the guns are a bit different. Like your like brutal shotgun now has like a claw shot on it, so like you can hook onto enemies and pull yourself towards them. I don't know if you had the ability to like double dash or like dash in the first one, but you do in this one. Your your like glory kills are a little different now. You have a sword that's like attached to your arm that you'll use sometimes to like kill things. Like I said, some of the guns are a little bit different. BFG is always in the games, and it's always great to have it. The level, and like some of the levels are like very different, but it's like very interesting to see how Earth gets destroyed from the whole process of like the demons coming, and like by the time you get there, like billions of people have died, and you're there to just try to stop what's going on. I guess another like big difference is you have like different like suits that you can wear. Like they give you the ability to wear different like Doom suits that you can collect.
Oh, that's good.
Which is fun. Yeah, and then that's about it. It's the same like upgrading system with how you upgrade your weapons. You have suit upgrades that I can't remember if it was in the last one, and you have like ability upgrades that you can kind of pick between that allow you to like stack certain things and making you like faster or stronger in certain points. So that's kind of fun as well. But it still has like the general like doomy aesthetic. Like everything's like covered in blood, dead bodies are hanging from the ceilings, like there's just weird human growths everywhere. You do go to a different planet. You go to like 3 different planets in this game. So it's very interesting.
Is Doom like a big like, I've never played any of the Doom games or Quake or like really any Bethesda games really. But like like even what's the other one, like Fallout. I never played any of the Fallouts, but is Doom like a big story based series? Like I didn't even know they went to Earth. I knew the last one was on Mars, but like are there big points? Because like if we're just Doom Guy, like does he have character development, or like are there other characters running the show? Like what's the story like in Doom games?
Well, I haven't really played any of the other Doom games. I do know in the third Doom that they ever made, it was like the one they made a movie about. That guy isn't necessarily Doom Guy. That's just a space marine that's on Mars where you have to handle stuff. But like the original like Doom Guy came about in like very like beginning of video games. I have to look up. I'm going to see when the original Doom came. Just give me a second.
Maybe I'll guess 92. I could be wrong, but that's what.
93. You were close.
Ooh, good year. Good year.
So that one, I don't know if it even had a story to it, or if it was just like a space marine running around killing demons on Mars, because that's where it started. but in this game, there is a story told through like you're just like you don't talk. Your character does not talk. But you do have other characters that talk, like the company that was mining on Mars. I think it was the AOC. They have like a bunch of holograms that pop up and like talk about how they're trying to bring on the path to hell and how you should embrace your mortally challenged brothers that are arriving. That you should sacrifice to help them survive, and sacrifice means your death and like stuff like that. It's like being said as you're playing the game, but then you also have an internal system called, I think it's called Vega, who's constantly talking to you and telling you what to do. It's like your map. It's kind of like the Cortana for Doom guy in this game.
Okay.
And you have this other character who was in the first one, and then you find him in this one. I think his name's like Sam Hall. He's a robotic consciousness that you worked with in the first one that you're now rescue from him being destroyed because he used to work for the company, the AOC, and you show him the error of what they're doing on Mars, and he agrees and he tries to down, but then he gets overthrown by the people who want to use the power that come from hell, because there's this whole thing that they use hell power to fuel things, and it's the end of the fuel crisis because they're using this hellscape power that they found on Mars, and it's kind of just like this weird hell-ridden game where you're trying to stop everything from happening. You know, it's very complicated and very confusing.
Now, the other thing I know about Doom is that it's like crazy difficult and like crazy hard. So I saw somebody like people, the hardest difficulty, whatever it's called, they say it's like so like
it's called nightmare mode, I think.
Nightmare mode, like it's just so difficult that like if you beat the game on that mode, it should be like a badge of honor as a gamer for forever, like how hard it is. So like, do you have any intentions on playing any of the harder difficulties, like going back? Because like I presume, I could be wrong, but I presume the Doom games aren't like too long, right? Like maybe like I don't know, 10 to 15 hours or something.
That's still pretty long.
That's not like a RPG. It's not like, you know, a big RPG or something.
Wow. Okay.
I'm saying lengthwise, like you could. How long did it take you? What, 15 hours?
I don't even know. I have to look. I don't even know how to check on the Bethesda app, but it took me some time. I guess it could 15 hours could be a good guess, but I might go back. Like the normal mode was just hard in general. I guess if I'm just doing straight gameplay, it wouldn't be hard, but some of like the secret battles that you have to do are pretty hard to do in the time limit that I was doing it in, because like you have these different like areas where if you want to unlock a certain thing, it asks you to kill these enemies in 2 minutes, and some of these enemies are very difficult to kill, so it's kind of just like, whoa, all right, let me figure out how to kill all these enemies in 2 minutes, because they take a lot of hits and you got to make sure you have all the ammo for it and all this other stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So I would have to go back and look, and maybe I will maybe go through it again, but I'm not 100% sure yet about it.
Did you ever watch, I forget, it was either Awesome Games Done Quick or Summer Games Done Quick recently, where they had the Doom 2016 speedrun of it?
Oh, that was, yeah, I did watch that, and I did not like it.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, like, what were your thoughts of that? Because like the way that when I watched that, it was like, excuse me, there is like a pattern to the madness. It's not just like just being crazy and killing random things. Like there is an effective way about like figure out the puzzle of the who do I kill and in what order and stuff.
Oh, well, what I saw was them breaking barriers and skipping levels.
Well, that too, yeah. But like, I'm talking about the actual gameplay.
There was, but the things that they fought weren't necessarily hard enemies. Like, I think I remember doing it. They just kept like skipping around. Like they jumped out of bounds on one level and they just killed all the enemies in another. It's just like, that's not what I'm necessarily talking about. Because the thing that I'm talking about wasn't in the Doom 2016 version. I think it's like a new thing in this version of Doom.
Oh, okay.
Where you have to like kill these hard enemies that you need to because there's an enemy in this new Doom game where you can't just shoot it; you have to wait for it's a thing that Aaron Hansen gets so annoyed about with Zelda games is you have to wait for it to open up a vulnerability point for you to shoot it, because if you shoot it, it has a shield that it bounces all the projectiles back at you, it'll hit you quicker, it'll shoot you back. It's like, so there are different like aspects of this game than in the last game, if you know what I mean.
I do. Okay, that's cool. I'm happy you found that one. You like those shooters more than I do, Joe. So.
Well, yeah, just like how you like the Japanese RPGs more than I do.
That is true. And what a wonderful segue that was, Joe, because now I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Now I'm going to take a nap, and you're going to talk about this other game that came out that everybody was in love with.
Yeah, well, we had like 3 million downloads in 3 days or whatever when it came out. Digital downloads, I should say. That is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now,
wait, what other download is there besides a digital download?
That's a great point. I don't know why I said that now. It's supposed to sound like they could have went to Best Buy or something. Like, couldn't go to GameStop during the pandemic.
What are you talking about? I went to GameStop during a pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went and picked up Resident Evil 3.
They let you in?
They didn't let me in. They made me stand outside, and they handed me the game from the door. GameStop has been open this whole time. You know that, right?
Well, to the dismay of the internet, yes, GameStop has been open this whole time. I am aware of that. It's just it's just funny to me. Imagine you like you at the door, like kind of like a DoorDash or Uber Eats person, like leaving the food at the door, and then have the money transferred. Like you just threw your card in there or something. It's just funny in my head. I'm picturing you at the door.
Okay. I was coming home from work, and I decided to go grab it.
Anywho, so Final Fantasy VII Remake. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII, one of the most lauded games of all time. I don't have to get into any of that. I have not. I'm a newcomer, so a newcomer in spirit because I never played the original Final Fantasy VII, but I have, I've watched playthroughs, and I know the story and the characters and things like. So I'm not like a newcomer. Like I know the story and I know things about it, but I had not played the original, so this was a quote unquote new experience for me, and I can't even think of how many positive things I can say about this game, Joe. Like it's so tough because it's not a complete game, right? But it is a complete game. So like I don't know how to review or like put it in perspective because it's only like the first 25% of Final Fantasy VII, but it also took me 41 hours to beat. Like, so
how do you think 41 hours to beat? Because
they added a whole bunch of stuff. So my good friend Art, who we've had on the podcast before, bypass the mainframe, I was texting with him a lot because he's like a huge Final Fantasy VII fan, like like 100% of it back in the day, and like he's big into it. So I was texting him constantly, and I'm like, oh, what is this character doing? And he was like, dude, I don't know, that's new to this game. Like, so he was like kind of he was my personal Wikipedia for the game, and he said that the Midgar aspect of the original game maybe could take between like 6 to 8 hours for playing it. And Midgar is the first area that you play with Cloud and the Avalanche characters. Like that's the big city that the remake takes place in. So what Art says, like the first 6 to 8 hours of Final Fantasy VII has now been turned into a complete game, and I got a huge bang for my buck on the amount of time it took because of how much content they added to it. But it's like it's also kind of like empty because it stops. It's only a quarter of a game, but it's a full game. So like I don't know how to feel.
Why?
Because the game that I played was arguably like one of the best games I've ever played. Like the combat system. So I'm someone who has been a lot of people like to dunk on Final Fantasy 13 and their battle mechanics and their story, which I think the story is correct to dunk on, but I think the paradigm shift from Final Fantasy 13 is like one of the most fun battle mechanics I've ever played in a JRPG. Cross the paradigm shift with me being a gigantic Kingdom Hearts fan, right? And I like the hack and slash style, just hitting attack with Sora, and and I like that type of gameplay also. Sorry I keep coughing. I don't know, my room's like really dusty for some reason.
Coronavirus.
Calm down. Gotta hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too.
So anyway, so the cross between Final Fantasy 13's paradigm shift and Kingdom Hearts Action is like they had a baby and it created Final Fantasy 7 Remake's gameplay or battle mechanic, battle system, whatever you want to call it. And it's like it's some of the most fun I've ever had in a game, just playing it, because you can stop time to like cast spells and stuff, like, so you have time to look around and you can think, so it's not full 100 pace or 100% like fast paced action, so you can breathe and stuff, but then it also is like really fast, so you can dodge out of the way of attacks, and the like the different combos you can set up by switching between your characters. Like the pacing in battles is awesome. The story, like every part of the story like feels important, like even things that aren't, like obviously except side missions, those like these side missions, a lot of them are god awful. Like you can't even like you can tell that they're just there to fill up the time because they know it's like a short aspect of it. But like the actual important main story stuff is so fleshed out. They added so much background to a lot of the characters that were like just like minor characters in the original. Like this girl Jessie, she's a part of the group Avalanche, who's trying to take down Shinra. They're like the environmentalist group, and in the original, she's just like her, Biggs, and Wedge are just like background characters in the army. Like they're not really that important compared to Tifa and Cloud and all of them. And then in this game, there's an entire chapter dedicated to just Jessie. And like, I don't know, maybe it took 3 hours or something like that. Like that chapter. Like, so like a completely new addition to the game that made me appreciate that character more, where they were just like a background character pretty much in the original. That now they actually have a personality and a backstory, and I care about her mom, and I care about her dad, and what she did before she joined the terrorist group and everything. Like I don't know what to say, Joe, because it's probably one of the best games I've ever played in my life, and it's not a full game, but it is a full game. This is the most perplexed I've ever been when trying to figure out how I review a game,
because it's only like part of the game,
right? But it still ends. Like you have a final boss scene and you have the final story, and then so that story concludes and it sets you up for the next thing. But like,
yeah,
we know the context of like this is not the end of the story.
Well, in general that it's going to continue because of what you know of Final Fantasy VII. Like everybody. Like,
so do I count the sequel as one game in 5 years when it comes out? Like,
is that really what's going to happen, or are you being over exaggerating? Are you over exaggerating? Well, because
you know how Square Enix takes forever on their games.
Yeah. I would say you can consider this one game. I would consider this kind of. I know you can't really, but like, Telltale would always put out chapters of a game,
right?
You can kind of consider this to be the first chapter of the new Final Fantasy VII.
Right. And I loved a lot of, like, oh my god, there was just so, for probably, I'd say 96% of my time playing that game, I was just purely optimistic and, like, so having so much fun. Like, I can't even think, like levels of like Marvel Spider-Man for the PS4. Like it was at levels of that high of how much I was enjoying the game, Joe.
Heck yeah, man.
And then So we won't get into any spoilers, obviously, for anyone listening. But they decide the director of Final Fantasy VII Remake is your boy Tetsuya Nomura, aka the Kingdom Hearts director, right?
Yeah, your boy.
So your boy, it's your boy Tetsuya, and you can see where I'm going with this here, as has the Kingdom Hearts background and he's doing Final Fantasy VII. So a lot of original Final Fantasy VII fans are upset with some of the story decisions he has decided to implement, and they're voicing this as calling it Kingdom Hearts BS to keep it clean, and they're very upset with it. And to that, I have to say, welcome to my world, because this is what I experience with Tetsuya Nomura directing the games that I love. So I was much better prepared for all of the changing, convoluted decisions that he went for, that all of these hardcore fans felt like they were so out of left field. I was like, no, yeah, this makes sense. This is totally like they're controlling destiny and blah, blah, blah. Like, because of my Kingdom Hearts experience, I could totally go along with the Kingdom Hearts BS where everyone else is upset about it. So I feel like I had an advantage because of all the years of trauma that Nomura has put me through being a Kingdom Hearts fan.
Oh my god.
So all in all, I'll say, Joe, I don't know where this game is going, because I don't know if it's going to go exactly how the original went, because they're already altering some things.
I was going to say, it's already not going the way the original went.
I know, but like, I would say ultimately, that is a bad thing, even though it's fine for me since I didn't play the original. So it's not like I have the context of like, oh, this scene she walked left and the other one she walked right, something, whatever. I'm dumb like that. But like, when those little small changes are fine, or like how they changed the dress scene for Cloud. Like, that was one of my favorite scenes in the entire game. It was so awesome, and they like changed it up a little, or a lot, I should say, with what they did for that. Like, I was just smiling the entire time. It was awesome. So like, things like that are fine, but like, when Nomura's starting to dip his toes in the waters of like completely changing character arcs and motivations and where their origins are from and stuff, I think that's when it goes a little too far. Because like, your job's not to make Final Fantasy fan fiction. Like, your job is to remake Final Fantasy VII.
But did he do that? Like, did those characters originally have these long backstories that he could work with, or did he have to work with little things that he had?
Right. So it's a 20-year-old game, so it's not like I can't spoil things. Like, obviously, everyone on the internet knows about Aerith's death in the original, right? It's like one of the most commonly known things about video game culture is Aerith dies in Final Fantasy. Like, there's now question. It's now up for discussion in the sequels. Like, is she gonna die? It's not guaranteed now because some of the decisions, and that's why I'm trying to not spoil the new game. Like, I can spoil the old game, but not the new one, because there actually is new things. Like, that's the crazy thing, is there shouldn't be new things, right? Like, it should be the same story, and it's not. And that's why there's such this huge divide between people who liked the remake's direction and people who wanted it to be remade in the original image, because like, that game is already a classic and considered one of the best of all time, and your job was just to make it better and implement it for a modern audience. And there's a number of story choices that Nomura made, and in just this first 25-30% of the game that I can only imagine are gonna diverge even more and more in the future. You know what I mean? In future sequels.
I guess I don't know. I would need to know the
context.
I'm
trying not to spoil it for
Yeah, no, but like, the context is key to know what you're talking about. Because I can't imagine them not killing her off in the game.
I agree. I think she is still gonna die, but there's a lot of talk about fate and destiny, and they introduced these like ghost looking figures called whispers that were not in the original, that like a lot of people hate, that they introduced them. And these whispers are like trying to keep fate on track. And so like the crew, the Cloud and his crew are now like actively going against fate, essentially trying to save the day where fate's trying to have it destroyed or whatever. So they're like, there's a lot of stuff like that where they're like, does this exist in the universe where Final Fantasy VII already happened and this is like an alternate timeline? Like, that's a question. Or is this the actual Final Fantasy timeline being retold? Like, there's a lot going on, Joe.
Okay.
But like, I can't recommend it enough. Oh my god, the gameplay is so amazing. All the cutscenes, all the music, like freaking, oh my god. Final Fantasy is known for its music, right? Like, everyone loves Final Fantasy soundtracks. Like, they have this like dynamic music system where it's hard to explain without showing you it. But like, they'll play like a, whatever town you're in or whatever area you're in, they'll have the song, the song for that, the theme for that section, and it'll be playing like low or like with a couple of instruments or like a whatever. And then like as enemies pop up, it instantly and smooth, flawlessly transitions into like the whole orchestral battle version of the song. Like, it's not like it's like a song plays and then you cut to black like in an old JRPG or something, and then the battle theme plays. Like, it's like the song is playing the whole time, and then dynamically, depending on the action on screen, is what dictates what like level or sound or type of music is playing. And it's just like, oh my god, Joe.
I hear what you're saying.
So yeah, I am conflicted in how I feel about it overall, but I am not conflicted in how I feel about this individual game because I loved every second of it. That makes sense.
That makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
Okay, and I'd also like to state, for the record, I am Team Aerith. Okay, I know I am doomed to fail. She even tells you that yourself in the game. I know I'm destined for a poor future, but I committed to Team Aerith, Joe.
Okay.
Well, people, they're Team Aerith, Team Tifa. Now people are Team Jessie, now that she's got a lot of backstory. So, you know how the internet be.
Yeah, I know how they be. Flip-flopping in it. Flip-flopping.
The other thing I was going to say was hard mode. I wanted to play hard mode because I unlocked, I think I got, it was either 52% or 55% of the achievements like on PSN just from playing through the first time, and like a lot of the achievements seemed really doable, but the one that was hard was beat the game on hard mode on all chapters. And in hard mode you can't use items, you can only use abilities and spells and stuff. So like, you can't use a potion. You can't use like a Phoenix down if somebody gets knocked out in the middle of a fight or whatever. And so like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I have to man up and play Doom and get better at playing hard games or whatever. But like, I think that's way too hard. Like, you like, even out of battles, like if you're in a battle and you can't use it, I guess I can understand. But like, you can't even use a potion like outside of a battle.
Okay. Well, then how do you heal yourself? How do you heal yourself?
With a cure ability, oh my gosh, materia or a revive materia is like, you equip the revive on somebody, and that's how they can bring someone back to life. But then if the person who's holding revive gets knocked out, then you can't bring them back to life. So, gotcha. I might try it one day, Joe. I might try the hard mode, but damn, it's bad. And I was watching a guy stream. He's a speedrunner. He speedruns the original FF7, and he did the remake. And I think when I watched it, his PB was like 12 and a half hours.
Ooh.
because that's just how much story and gameplay there is. Like even when he's skipping every cutscene and playing and skipping through dialogue in non cutscenes or whatever. Like that's how much gameplay that they packed into this game that it's still like 12 and a half hours.
Pretty cool, man. It's a good game.
All right, I think I've talked enough about that game, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it. They've already said, Nomura said in an interview that they have started, design concepts or whatever. Like they've started small work on the sequel already. So
I feel like they started way more than small work on the sequel.
Well, this was back in November, so like the game wasn't even out when he did this interview, where he said they already started working on the sequel.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, what's your guess? Let's make a bet. What is your guess? What year Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 comes out?
I'm gonna guess 22.
All right, I'm gonna say 2023. I'd like 2022, and you'd think they could probably do it, right? Since they have all the assets and everything, and they know how to use the engine and whatever. You'd think they'd be able to do it quickly, but this is Square Enix we're talking about, Joe.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like they're gonna have to keep up with this one. Gonna have to keep it up with this one.
All right, take us home.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Cup of Joe's. I've been your host, Joe Perry, and always accompanied me by my good friend, Joseph Brown. And we're going to catch you next time on another episode of Cup of Joe.